So you probably think you've seen everything there is to see when it comes to the Kingdom Hearts franchise. Well, hold on there, Slim Jim. I doubt very much you know of a game called Kingdom Hearts Magical Puzzle Clash. This is an official Kingdom Hearts puzzle game developed by both Disney and Square, not sure who specifically, but was officially released by them over on the Disney website to promote 358 over 2 days when the game had been released. Keeping in mind this is during the early 2000s, so this was during a time where back then if there was a new movie that was about to come out or a new video game, on its official website, generally most of the time you'd have access to a whole cool bunch of stuff like wallpapers, information, and graphics to do with the actual said movie or game, or even sometimes interactive media like flash games. Promotional websites don't really tend to exist all that often when it comes to either games or movies that are going to release. Most of the time the publishers will just pretty much remain to promoting whatever the said video game or piece of media is over on social medias, as the reach is a lot better obviously. But I really do miss this niche of having specific websites for specific things, and on there you could come across all kinds of really cool stuff. I used to spend a countless amount of time scouring through the various different websites that you would find labeled and advertised on game boxes to go over to its official website to find out more about that game, and also to be able to access things like flash games. I remember vividly always going on over to either the Ratchet and Clank or Jak and Daxter websites and playing the cool interactive pieces of media that usually always have on there. Of course, Flash does no longer exist, and the whole era of Flash games is kind of slowly dying out. This was also during a time where stuff like Miniclip was absolutely booming, and this type of gaming isn't really all that prominent nowadays, unfortunately due to the removal of Flash. It was a few months ago that I decided to try and find Magical Puzzle Clash to see if it was still accessible. I remember playing this a lot because during the time of 358 over 2 days' release, I didn't have a Nintendo DS, and I was desperate to get any type of experience close to it. The closest I could come was Magical Puzzle Clash, which was a day's puzzle game. You know, like Candy Crush or like Bejeweled, you know, those puzzle games where you gotta match 3 and like all of the tiles and stuff move down and you accumulate points. Candy Match 2 is my personal pick of the crop. It's just Candy Crush, except you know, you got cats and like the bunny and the green bird. It's way better. This is that, but like a Kingdom Hearts version of it. Is this canon? Is this lore orientated? No, but maybe. I don't know. This is Kingdom Hearts we're dealing with. This is an official piece of Kingdom Hearts media. Who knows? This is dang Tetsuya Nomura we're dealing with after all. Turns out that the mobile phone game turned out to be one of the most important Kingdom Hearts stories, so what's not to say that a browser-based flash puzzle game for Kingdom Hearts might not also be a vital part of the ongoing story. No, you'd be relieved to hear that there is no story relevance here. This is just a simple flash game to promote days. Anyway, much to my surprise, Kingdom Hearts Magical Puzzle Clash is still accessible thanks to a website known as Namuki. This allows you to download a client that is still able to access a bunch of old Disney Flash games. For all of you guys who missed out on this glorious piece of Kingdom Hearts Forgotten Media, yeah, you can go ahead right now and indulge for yourselves. The game starts off by explaining that Organization 13 is assigned to defeating Heartless, and you'll do exactly that here in this puzzle game. You then choose what character you want to play as, Roxas, Xion, or Axel, and depending on what one you pick, you'll have access to a special ability. Xion's one allows you to switch the color of tokens, Axel's one allows you to collect several different tokens at complete random, and Roxas's allows you to destroy all of the specific token that you switch the power up with. Now, I did my entire playthrough here as Xion, and it took me like 2.5 hours, and I'm kind of regretting that now in all honesty. Like, have you ever been sick of a Kingdom Hearts music track? I mean, yes, maybe the Dream Eater track? Yeah, I've decided I don't want to be here anymore. But I never thought in like a million years I'd end up hating Tension Rising. But man, I don't think I feel the same about Tension Rising after playing through Magical Puzzle Clash. Alright, let's go. One of my favorite Kingdom Hearts tracks, bump into like a match 3 puzzle game. Yes! Personally, I'd have to probably recommend going with Roxas. His power-up is just far superior to both Axel and Shion's. The premise of the game is pretty simple, as I explained. It's like Candy Crush. You just gotta simply match 3 or more of the same colored token, and voila, you end up doing damage to the Heartless that you are versing. There are 5 different worlds that you'll end up visiting, 5 levels to each world, making for a grand total of 25 levels. I love the sort of lore explanation of exactly what this puzzle type setup is. It's explaining it as defeating Heartless magic jewels to prove who the best Keyblade bearer in Organization... Wait, 8? Organization 8? Hello? Organization 8? Is this Unreality Organization? It's just kind of funny because, like, obviously the only Keyblade wielders here in Organization 13 are both Shion and Roxas, and I guess sort of by some technicality also Xemnas. So, like, what does that kind of mean for Axel, who is actively participating in this race and competition to find out who the best Keyblade bearer is? Hold on a minute, though. In our current day and age, Axel is, in fact, a Keyblade wielder, so maybe this game was ahead of its time.
Magical Puzzle Clash, what do you know?
As you end up matching tokens, you'll end up doing damage to the Heartless that you're versing. You can see the Heartless's board to the right of the screen to see exactly where they're up to, and vice versa for the Heartless. As they match more tokens, they'll end up doing damage to you. So it's basically a race to see who can deplete whose HP first. It's kind of cool because this is like Candy Crush with the Kingdom Hearts theme on it, integrated into the mechanics as well. I honestly think it's kind of cool, and I wouldn't mind actually seeing something like this as a mini-game in a proper Kingdom Hearts game. Yeah, I know, we got the 100 Acre Wood Kingdom Hearts 3D Candy Crush mini-game with the fruit, the vegetables, the flowers, but like, honestly speaking, it's got nothing on Magical Puzzle Clash. Like, I think it's just kind of neat. You do have like the health bar heads-up display there for both yourself and the Heartless. There's also like layers to the health bar in similar fashions like Kingdom Hearts 1, rather than the mini bars underneath the health bar. There were just different colors that went over the health bar to represent tiers of health. You got standard power-ups to be expected in games like this, so like if you match more than 3 tokens, you'll end up getting a what is known as a Row Destroyer, which will destroy a row of tokens, or if you match more than 4 tokens, you'll get what's known as a Crossroad Destroyer, and that can destroy rows both vertical as well as horizontal. Now, on top of power-ups, there are also spells in the game that will randomly come onto the board. The idea here is to get the spell to the bottom of the board to then collect it. It will be stocked in your, I guess, item menu down the bottom, and you just simply click on it to use it at will. What I did find out is these spells are specific to what character you're playing as, so you'll get different spells depending on if you're playing as Axel, Roxas, or Shion. I noticed that the spells that you have access to as Shion are pretty garbage, and when looking at Roxas and Axel, are just far more superior. One thing that I really struggled with was, as I was going through the game, like, enemies also have access to spells as well, and quite often the boss enemies will have access to, like, Curaga, which is super annoying. I can't tell you how many times later on in the game, when I was versing a boss, I was so close to defeating it, and bada bing bada boom, Curaga, it's like basically starting the entire game over again, yet you are now almost sucking the dirt. It is absolutely aggravating. Shion did have access to some kind of helpful stuff like Confusion and Petrify. Remedy is also okay too, that essentially removes the opponent's spells. The other really agitating thing about this game is it has a tendency to be really bad with shuffling and randomizing the tokens, where you have absolutely no moves. But for the game to actually recognize that you've got no more moves remaining, it takes a while. It's almost like the game is running on dial-up internet, 1G type 1-bar connection BS. The tendency with these kinds of games usually is as soon as you run out of moves, the game will instantly shuffle the board around for you so that you can continue playing. But here in Magical Puzzle Clash, oh, you'll realize it first, then you'll have to wait an additional 20 seconds. All while in this time, the enemy is absolutely chicken slapping you to planet Venus and back. It's not enjoyable and is incredibly infuriating. The other bad thing I want to say about this is, yeah, at times you're playing at like 10 frames per second. Now, I don't have the best computer in the world, but it is semi-what, half decent. It almost felt like I was running an emulated Windows 98 experience towards the end portions of this game. And I don't know if it was because there were so many things happening at once in the sense of the animations and stuff, and I get it, this is just a Flash game, but holy horseradish, man, it was almost like playing PowerPoint presentation the game. I think asking the question of, can your PC smoothly play Kingdom Hearts Magical Puzzle Clash is the new way to determine whether or not your rig is an absolute beast or not. The ups that I have to say about this though is that, yeah, this is actually kind of a fun match 3 style puzzle game themed to Kingdom Hearts, and done actually quite well. I think whoever ended up making this, whether it was Square Enix or Disney, actually put a little bit of love and attention into it. Aside from the downsides that I just mentioned, this is kind of cool. I really do wish that this was like a mobile phone game, because I definitely jump on every so often just to burn 10 minutes. I also really like the ultra dramatic title card little screens that come in shortly before you end up playing a game, with the 2 characters versing off. It's totally unnecessarily dramatic for what this game is, and I absolutely love it. It's almost the type of thing you'd see if you were playing a game of like Street Fighter or Tekken or Super Smash Bros. Why do I have this versus title card thing in my puzzle game? I have no idea, but I love it. Now, no, there's no secret special prize for defeating Magical Puzzle Clash other than the bragging right of saying that you have successfully passed Kingdom Hearts Magical Puzzle Clash, and you can likely now say that you've played every single Kingdom Hearts game, apart from probably Kingdom Hearts Coded. Yeah, it's a bragging right. Final boss is the Neo Shadow. Once you wrap that up, you get a big fat advertisement for Kingdom Hearts Days, and you can just play the game all over again, but as another character. There's 3 different playthroughs here, guys. Each changes up your gameplay experience. This is madness. So that right there, guys, is Kingdom Hearts Magical Puzzle Clash. You're welcome. For those of you who had no idea that this even existed, you now do. If you do want to play it for yourselves, I'll leave the link to it in the description down below. However, guys, hopefully you're having a fantastic day, and I'll catch you real soon. Peace.